In this video, we are going to learn about getSnapshotBeforeUpdate lifecycle method. So this is not a much frequently used lifecycle method. In fact, most of the frequently used lifecycle methods like component did mount, component did update, component will unmount, those we have already gone through. But this is also one of the lifecycle methods which is worthwhile knowing because it can be definitely used at some places. We will exactly see an example where this can be useful. Otherwise, it is not that much used. It is rarely used lifecycle method. Okay, so yeah, let's get started. Now, the get snapshot before update method. This is called just before any new DOM update is inserted into the browser. That thing is called committing. Okay, so we have already seen like component did mount, component did update, component will unmount, right? The render phase is when the actual DOM is created, and commit phase is exactly when the DOM is inserted inside the browser. Okay, but okay, what is this diagram? This diagram shows the common lifecycle methods. If you want to see this diagram, then you can simply write in Google something like React lifecycle methods diagram. You will Google this, then mostly first result you will get this one. So yeah, so here you can see that there is a checkbox. If you click this, then it will show you some more lifecycle methods which are not that much common. So common ones they have already shown, right? If you click on this, then you will see that now we are discussing this thing, get snapshot before update. Okay, so this get snapshot before update right now we are discussing. And what is this? In fact, if you click this, then you can go to the documentation also. You can see that it is saying that it is invoked right before most recently rendered output is committed to the DOM, right? So the rendering has done, the DOM elements or whatever React has decided that what should be the final state of the DOM, that is decided, but that has not been committed, that has not been inserted inside the DOM as of now, right? This thing is called just before that insertion has happened. Okay, now how this can be used, where this can be used. Okay, so this can be used at places where you have some states or something like that in the DOM, let's say scroll position or something, and you as your component is being re-rendered and as it will update, the scroll position will, let's say, randomly shift somewhere else. Okay, but then let's say you want to maintain scroll position or something like that, then it will be helpful. We'll see exact example how we can use this. Firstly, we'll see that how we can do that without using this lifecycle method, and then we will see that how this lifecycle method can make that work somewhat easier. Okay, so before that, let's try to build the example which we will be using. Okay, so let's right now, let's forget this. Let's go back to our sample project, where what we are doing is that I have just created a React component where I am listing down a bunch of comments. So there is an input box, there's a button. When I click on that button, then that input element is that whatever is written inside. So this is right now uncontrolled component. We have learned about controlled and uncontrolled components, right? So we don't want to do any processing of input. It's just whatever we have written, we just want to add it as a comment directly. So we don't want we don't want control components. We have just used uncontrolled component input component here, where whatever is written inside, so the default value is user, but however you can change it whatever you want, so that is fine. But the idea is that whatever we have written here, that thing, as soon as somebody clicks on this comment button, then this method is called, because obviously we'll submit this form. By default button type will be submit inside the form, right? So this on submit will be called, and then we will take that whatever is written inside that. You can see that whatever is written inside this input element, we will take that, and there is a comments array. That comments array is initially empty, but we are adding our comments inside that array as we go forward. Okay, so right now you can see that whatever the comments are there, we are prepending this. Okay, so whatever comments are there, we are adding before the comments, right, at the beginning part. I'll show you at the end part also, but our example will be best demonstrated when we use this. So we'll see how. Okay, so you can see that when I click, then this thing, then obviously the state.com comments, right, that thing is updated, that is fine. But what happens to that state.comments? In fact, that state.comments is passed to another component which you can create in a separate file, but I have created this component mylist in this file only. You can see here mylist component, where this just does plain and simple one thing, right? This is not needed right now, we'll see. This just does plain and simple thing. What it simply takes those comments, maps over it, returns an array of JSX elements which will be visible, right? So right now you can see that there is this obviously this thing is comments is empty, so whatever is passed is empty. So this iteration will not give you anything, right? This map essentially gives you just an empty array still. So there is nothing rendered, and that's why you can see that it is empty. Regarding the height and all those things, this is like plain and simple, you can do it in your on your own. What is happening is that a class mylist is created, and you could have created CSS modules, but for simplicity I have just used a static class name, which is somewhere written something like here, where it has a border of 1 pixel of pink, its height is 350 pixel, and we'll come back to this what overflow scroll is. For now, let's comment it. I'll show you that how it works. Okay, so height is 350. Okay, so this height from here to here is 350. Okay, and this border is pink, that is fine. So all these small things you can do on your own, right? The main thing is that what is happening is that you can see that right now you don't need this list refs, but we'll be using this in the future. That's why I have just created it for the sake of it. So you have created a React ref object, and this ref object this thing is assigned here as ref prop, as we already know, just so that we can get the DOM reference of the whole container. What is this whole container? This whole container contains all the comments. So all this pink container, this list ref will be essentially the DOM reference to that container. Okay, we'll use that. Right now we are not using, but just for now you can ignore that. So this is the setup. Now once this setup is ready, then you can see that once I click, then you can see that what is happening, that once I clicked, then this new comment is added to the comments array, and then that is visible, right? I can add comments user 2, user 3, whatever I'm adding, it is being added to the comments array. Now you can see that the comments are being added at the top rather than being at the bottom, right? Why? Because this comment is prepended, not appended. Okay, so if it is appended at the bottom, then you will see that all the comments which we are updating, that will go to the bottom, right? Now now we have seen the setup, right? Now let's see what we are trying to achieve. We are trying to achieve that, let's say 4, 5, 6, whatever many comments are there, right? Now after that, let's say first thing is that we have to make this so right now the whole page is scrollable, that is fine, but I don't want the whole page to be scrollable. I just want this particular container to be scrollable, right? So what we can do is that you can see firstly what is happening. As long as we are adding and it is inside, then it is fine. As soon as the contents of the container is more, then you can see that this thing is overflowing. I said that the container should be only till this pink one, right? Pink container, but you can see that the when the extra content is coming, this is overflowing. For this only, this thing was written here, that when you say that overflow x, overflow scroll, then it will then the overflow will become scroll. Rather, you can see that now the overflow is not outside the container, it is inside the container only, and if there is any overflow, then automatically a scroll bar will come, and you can see that this scroll bar is for inside the is within the container itself. Okay, and to be precise, there is one more property called overflow x and overflow y. Okay, so actually rather than overflow x, actually overflow y we want to do, because y-axis means vertical axis, right? This is only we want to achieve, right? So you can see that this scrolling is vertical enabled. If you do x, then horizontal scrolling we don't need, because this is not needed here, because the content is not overflowing on the horizontal side, rather it is overflowing on the vertical side. However, even if you simply write overflow, then both are enabled. So rather than writing xy, if you simply write overflow scroll, then that will also work, because it enables x and y both directions overflowing. Okay, so that's fine. But exactly now we have achieved this overflow thing, but the main thing is that what we are actually trying to do is that, let's say something like, let's say 7 comments are there, right? Now you can see that yeah, so there are 7 comments. Now let's say I am right now let's say right now I am here at hello user 4, this comment, right? Now you can see that there are 9 comments, right? Now if I am at hello user 4, okay, and then if I comment another, let's say user 10, then you can see that at the bottom it will be commented, right? So you comment and then that is commented, but your scroll position is still intact, because the content is added at the bottom, not at the top, right? So it does not intrude with your scroll position. Okay, so you can see that still the 10th comment is added, but the scroll position was as it is, it did not fluctuate. Try to do the same thing when the comment is prepended rather than appended. So now let's see. So now you can see that all the comments are now being added at the top. Okay, now let's see, there are 8 comments, right? Now if I do the 9th comment, so obviously if I click on comment, then it will be appended, prepended, which means it will be appended at the top. Okay, but let's say now I'm again at, let's say some scroll position right here. Okay, but if I click, then you can see that the change in view, like whatever the visible part of the container is there, that is changed, because earlier only 8 were there, now 9 are there. So if I was at 5, okay, and now if I do it change it to 10 and I click, then you will see that this will change. This right now the topmost is user 5, now you can see that this is user 6, because now the 10th one is also added. So this problem is happening, right? This is the problem which we are trying to solve. What we want is that irrespective of whatever the comments are being added, if I am reading through, so you can understand that this can be disturbing. If you're going through, let's say YouTube comments or anything, and let's say I'm reading this comment, suddenly some other person commented, a new comment is added at the top, or I don't know, like YouTube decides its own algorithm where to add, but generally most of the places it will be added at the top. But let's say this comment, whatever the other person commented, that comment came at the top, and then I'm reading this and suddenly this goes below. This is like not good, right? Whatever I am reading, anything should not disrupt that my reading. So what should ideally happen is that automatically comment is added, but still my viewport, my this container, whatever is the visible part of the comments is there, that should be exactly the same. It's just that right now it is 10, still I am reading this 6, somebody commented, then that 11th comment comes and is there, but my view is still exactly this. But now if I click, then you can see that my view is changing from 6 to 7. It has happened. So that I don't want. So how to fix this? So here this thing get snapshot from update will come into picture, where what we will do is that we can save, actually we can save the state, we can understand that what was the situation just before the new DOM updation, and then we can use this information after the commit to restore that, and everything will be done so fast that it will be like user will see that nothing has changed at all, but internally the everything is calculated and fixed. Right now, without using get snapshot before update, I'm just trying to give you an idea that how if you don't know this lifecycle method, then how can you achieve this, try to solve this problem on your own. Okay, so from first principles. So for this you need to understand two things. There is a concept of, so you can see there is a concept of scroll height and scroll top. Okay, so I'm just writing a component did mount, and I'm just printing. So there is something called scroll height, okay, and there is something scroll, okay, and there is something called scroll top. Okay, but if you Google these, then you can get more information about this. So scroll height, scroll top. So you can see that what it is saying, that scroll top property gets or sets the number of pixels that an element's content is scrolled vertically, which means that right now you can see that this thing I'm scrolling. So if I'm completely at the top, then I will say that my scroll top is 0. Let's say I have moved it, let's say 70 pixels. Why I'm saying 70 pixels? Because you can see here that this height of each of the comment is 70 pixels. So I'm just saying that let's say I have scrolled it by one comment height, then I have scrolled by 70 pixels, then my scroll top will become 70, which means that what is the number of pixels that an element content is scrolled vertically, and the counting is done from top to bottom direction. So you can understand that the amount of scroll which you have done in vertical direction, so this is 0, going forward 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So this 70 scroll you have done, right? Similarly 140 scroll you have done. So in the same manner, okay. So this is scroll top, okay, we have understood. Now scroll height. Scroll height is basically the entire height of the content, scrollable content. So which means that right now you can see that, okay, this height is what we set this height somewhere, right? We set this height to 350 pixel, right? So 350 pixel is the 350 pixel is the height of this container, okay, but you can see that the actual content is more than that, and that's why it is scrollable, right? The actual content is more. So from here till you scroll all the way down here, okay, so internally whatever is being scrolled, that element, what is the total height? Obviously that will be more than 350, right? And that's why it is being scrolled. So that height is called scroll height. It is telling you that it is a property or measurement which gives you the height of elements content. Okay, so that is fine. Let's print that. But these things are available where? These things are available on the element, which means that we have to firstly get the reference to the element which is the container element. Okay, what is the container element? This div, and that's why I already had a reference for this. So I already created a ref and then passed it, which means that if I use this ref, and how do you use ref? You know that ref dot current, if you use this, then this will give you the actual reference. Okay, so whatever list. So this list variable is now a reference to the means actually it is not list. Yeah, it is list. It is a container of the list, but anyways we'll just say it list anyways, that's fine. And then you can, on that element, this list is essentially pointed to this div element. So this list dot scroll height and this list dot scroll top, this will give you that piece of information which we are talking about. Now you might be thinking that what happens, so you see that this something printed, we'll see. So what happens is that right now you can see that scroll top. So what is the right one? Right one is scroll top, left one is scroll height. Right now you can see that it is saying that this scroll height is 350 and scroll top is 0. Scroll top is 0, obviously, like nothing is scrolled right now. Scroll height is 350. Why it is 350? Because if there is no content, or even if there is a content which is like and let's keep it in, rather than component did mount, let's keep it in component did update. Okay, so that every time whenever anything changes we print this. Okay, so you can see that initially till now you can see that every time it is 350. Why? Because even if the content is less, which means that it is less than 350, it is not scrollable, then also scroll height by default is the height of the that container on which it is being calculated. If it is more, then it will become more. So you can see that if it grows more than 350, then you can see that as you're clicking, then it is becoming more than 350, then whatever is the internal height, right, this list of comments height, so that thing is being recalculated. But definitely whenever we are having a content which is less than the height, then it will be still 350 only, it will be not less than that. At least it has to be the height of the content. Now you can see that this scroll top is printing 0 every time, right? Let's say I scroll something and then I click, then you can see that this this thing is 112. This is the amount of scroll which I have done. If you want to prove that, then we know that this height is 70, right? Let's scroll almost one comment unit, let's say. Okay, almost this much, and let's say now I click on comment, then you can see that it's almost 70, right? One pixel is actually the width of the border, whatever this blue border is there now, so that thing is being coming. Okay, anyways, so you can understand that if I do scroll 2 units, then it will be around 140, isn't it? It will be around 140. You can see that it is around 140. So the idea is that now we have understood what is scroll height and what is scroll top. Scroll height, whole container, whatever is being content of the container that is being scrolled, its height, and scroll top is how much I have scrolled. Initially, if I have not scrolled anything, then it will be back to 0. So now let's see what are we trying to achieve. Okay, so we know that let's say 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever comments we have done. Now we want to achieve that. Let's say 8 comments are there, but I am at 6. Okay, then if I click on something more, then a new comment is created. Let's say 9 or 10, anything is created. Then that thing should come at top, and my scroll position, if I have scrolled till here, that should not get tampered. Okay, first thing what we have to do is that whenever I am clicking, okay, then as the this list of comments is going to change, the first thing I have to do is that I have to see that what was my scroll top, isn't it? And is simply saving scroll top that will work? No. Why? Because now my content is being added at the beginning, right? So let's say I am right now at 6. So how much I have scrolled? I have scrolled around 70, 140. Okay, but if I am here and I have clicked, then after clicking, after let's say comment 9 is added, then my scroll top should be how much? Should be 120, because this new comment, hello user 9, that is going to be added at the top. So if I want my view to not change for the user, then earlier it was 70 into 2, but when I click, then also the view should be same, so the scroll top should be 17 to 3, 210 around. Okay, so now you can see that this has become 7, but if I wanted it to remain like this, then I wanted 17 to 3, means around 210 scroll top. So you can see that scroll top is changing, so I cannot save scroll top because that will not be of much use. What is not changing, what is constant? If you see closely, then actually the distance from bottom is not changing. You can understand. So let's say my whole scroll height is whatever is my whole scroll height, that is fine, right? Now let's say I have scrolled this much. Okay, now there is some scroll top. If I subtract that value from scroll height, then I will get height from here till bottom. That thing is not changing even when a new comment is added, because when a new comment I'm adding, then I'm adding it at the top. So if I maintain this, if I somehow save the save the whole thing, whatever the scroll height minus scroll top, even after adding a new comment, if I again somehow recalculate the scroll top so that that distance is still same, then I'll achieve the target, isn't it? But in order to achieve that, I need real-time access to my scroll, because I don't know, like somebody scrolled and then clicked. Somebody scrolled and then clicked. So how do I know that just before anybody clicked or did some comment or whatever happened, at that point of time, what was my scroll position? I don't know, right? So somehow I have to have some event listener sort of, that if some scroll is happening, I should know, so that I update my data variable. That data variable means distance from bottom. That thing which I want to save, that thing is always up to date. Okay, that I want to do. So for that, there is a event listener which you can add. So there is something called we have learned this thing, right? So on component did mount, what I can do is that I will take this this is DOM reference, right? Dot current, this is DOM reference. On that I can add event listener, and that event name is scroll, and then you can pass a function just to see that it is called. You can just print a called here, and you can see that when I'm scrolling, you can see that when I'm scrolling, this called is being printed continuously, which means that as long as I'm scrolling, then this function is continuously being called. And that's what it does, right? It is adding an event listener for scroll event whenever scroll. So what we are going to do, actually it passes a event also, but we are not going to use that event. So anyways, just have e, or you can remove that also. But what we are going to do here is that we will take the reference. We already have this list ref.current. So I have that list. This scroll height and scroll top, these two things I want to definitely have. But what I want to save, actually I want to save scroll height minus scroll top, because this will give me actually distance from bottom, isn't it? But where to save this distance from bottom? So we can save this directly on some field variable. For simplicity, in constructor you can initialize this with 0, so that there is no chance that it is undefined. But the actual value which will be of interest to us will be this thing, dist from bottom, okay, which will be calculated here. So okay, so firstly let's print this. Is this working or not also? Let's see. Obviously this is called. Let's comment this for now, because this is not needed as of now. So as we will scroll, we will see that I can see my list height and scroll top. Okay, you can see clearly. Whatever, anything, that's fine. So you can see that as I'm scrolling, you can see that, see my current height, the whole height from top till here, the whole height is 710, and that's why this scroll height is not changing, but scroll top is changing. As I go all the way to the top, then you can see that scroll top is 0. As I go till the bottom, then you can see that scroll top is 360. And why this is 360? Because if scroll top is 360, then and height is 710, then 710 minus scroll is 360, right? That 710 minus 360, 710 minus 360, you can say that that will be 350. And what is that 350? 350 is the height of the container, and that's why scroll top is this 360. Okay, so that is fine. But the main idea is that we are not interested in these two values, we are interested in its difference. Because if I'll take whole height and whatever is the current scroll top, if I take the difference, then I will get the distance from bottom. Okay, so you can see that the whole height, I have removed the scroll from top, then I will get the actual distance from bottom. Okay, this distance from bottom is not with respect to this line, it is with respect to the actual bottom, scrollable content bottom. Okay, you can understand that thing is just bottom. So if you just print this thing, then you will have a better idea. There you can see that. So now you can see that right now whatever is my distance, so if I am at the top, okay, then 639 is the height of the container, and that's why the distance is still also 639, right? But as I scroll, you can see that distance from bottom is decreasing. Okay, and as I go all the way till the end, then distance from bottom, what is this distance from bottom? Distance from bottom is essentially the top position. Top position's distance from bottom is 350 because I have scrolled all the way till the end. Okay, now this is the information I'm interested in. When the component gets updated, again I want to set my scroll top such that this thing is not changed. And how do you calculate that? You can think it like this, that whatever is my height, I have to remove the, I have to take the this thing, whatever is the height, the total scroll height, from that I have to remove the top, and then that difference will be my distance from bottom. Okay, but as I will add new content, then I have, obviously my scroll height will change, but I have to change my top, top means scroll top, in such a way that distance from bottom is constant. So this is not in our control, right? Height is not in our control, because height is definitely DOM will decide that how many contents are added. As per that, you have to see that what will be the height. So this is, height is not in our control. What is in our control? In our control, it is this top thing is there. So we have to find top such that this and this distance from bottom should not change. So in other words, I have to do something like this, that what should be my top such that height minus difference from bottom, this such that height from distance from bottom is same, which means that I will take that distance from bottom which I have saved, and then the new height, whatever is there, from that whatever the new value comes, that I will set it to scroll top. And you can see so you can see that this scroll top you can write also. It is, so you can see that scroll height is a read only property, you can see, but scroll top gets or sets, which means that you can read also, you can write also scroll top. Okay, so scroll top, what you can do is that you can write also. So essentially what I am going to do is that I am going to set my scroll top to my new, whatever is like, I am doing this in component did update, because my whatever is my now new height minus whatever is my saved distance from bottom. Okay, this thing, and obviously I have to take the reference one. So this is what eventually it is going to be. You can understand, top is equal to height minus distance from bottom. So that is what we are doing. Top, I'm reassigning it to height minus distance from bottom. Distance from bottom, whatever I just like, I scrolled, you can see that I scrolled many times. That's fine. I scrolled many times. As I stopped, then my whatever is the most recent distance from bottom, that is saved. And whenever I click on comment, I comment new thing, then my height is changed. But I will change my scroll to top such that I still have the same distance from bottom. Okay, and based on that, I will set my scroll top. So this is scroll top we are resetting, which means that, let's say, if I did not let's say change scroll top, then it will, this 7 will become 8, right? But I will quickly change this scroll top such that it is 7 remains 7 only. Okay, that's what we are doing. You can see this in action by simply, let's just say, I will comment everything else, and only this much you can see that so let's say this is the situation where there are 8 comments. Now you can see that 8 comments are there. I have scrolled at this position, 6 positions. This sixth comment is now visible. Now even if I add the 9th comment and I click, then you can see that my view has not changed. It is still 6 only, right? But you can see that 9th comment is added, but still my view was at 6 only. Why? Because quickly, as soon as the component commit, the new view is committed to the DOM, as soon as that thing is done, I changed scroll top. Okay, so yeah, this is the way in which you can do it without get snapshot from update, without get snapshot before update. Okay, but now I'm going to tell you that this thing is not required. Okay, there is an easier way using this lifecycle method, get snapshot before update. In get snapshot before update, we know that we can get access to the DOM just before the actual commit, just before the actual insertion of the new DOM into the browser, which means that this thing what I'm doing, that I am adding an event listener, I'm continuously reading when I'm scrolling, I just don't need to do this. I just don't need to do this. This distance from bottom is actually, you can see that this distance from bottom can be calculated just before rendering, and that lifecycle method is get snapshot before update. Okay, what it does is that see, in component did update, we are not using this previous props and previous state. We have learned that previous props and previous state are the two arguments passed to component did update. Okay, but we are not using this right now. But in a similar fashion, get snapshot before update also gets get previous props and previous state, right? Now what happens is that you can return anything from here. So you can return anything from here, and whatever you return from here, that comes as a final argument here. Okay, so whatever you return, and you can name this anything, but the common convention is to call it snapshot. Okay, so whatever thing you return from get snapshot before update, that returned value is coming to component. If you don't return anything, then this thing is undefined. This thing is undefined. But if you return anything, then this thing will be the same value what you returned from here. Okay, now what is the purpose? The purpose is that I don't have any event listener or something. I just want that whenever my DOM is just going to change, give me that that value. What was the value? If you remember, then scroll this thing, scroll height minus scroll top. This was how the distance from bottom was calculated, right? Then I can simply return this thing. Okay, if I will return this thing, then that thing will be available here. Okay, so just let me show you. If get a snapshot before update is not implemented, then this third argument, you can see, and this third argument will be undefined, you can see. But now if I implement this, then whatever is the scroll height minus scroll top, so let's print that also. So every time I'm adding what is the scroll height and what is the scroll top, let's print both these values. So you can see that the scroll height will be 350, that is fine. Scroll top will be 0 because I have not scrolled anything, right? So 350 minus 0, 350. That 350 is returned from here, and then that value is passed here. So that's why snapshot is 350. Okay. Now if you click again, then you can see that again 350 is 0. But if you click a few more times, then you will see that now you are seeing that my height is like more than 350. It is 426. So 426 minus 0, 426, that thing is being passed, right? If I scroll it somewhat, so let's say I scroll it this much. Okay, now if I click, then you can see that I have scrolled around 70. Around 70 I have scrolled, right? So you can see that it is saying that height is 497, that is the new height, but you have scrolled 72, which means that the distance from bottom is 425. So actually this thing what is being returned is still distance from bottom, right? You can very well call this, rather than a snapshot, you can call this distance from bottom. That is fine. But the general convention is to call it snapshot, because you can return anything. You can return an object, you can return null, you can return a number, whatever you want you can return. But the main idea is that we have now understood that distance from bottom is basically returned, and that thing is in snapshot. Okay, now if I have that thing here, then why not I can directly use that, right? So rather than distance from bottom, there is no such variable, field variable now, distance from bottom. This is snapshot is itself distance from bottom, and again you can rename this distance from bottom also. Okay. Now if you see, then I have been able to achieve the same thing. You can see that, let's say 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 something, let's say. So I have scrolled till 6, I have changed and commented 9, clicked, and you can see that it is added, but still my scroll position has not changed. Okay, you can see that 9th comment is added, but still it is here, right? So how this is happening? This is happening exactly that get a snapshot before update is a rare lifecycle method, but when you need situations like this, then you can see that my code is much more simplified. I don't need to listen to scroll event. Just before my DOM is changed, I know that this will be called, so I can read the existing DOM before it is being updated. That's why it is written here, that it can read the DOM before the actual any changes are committed to the DOM. Okay, and then using that only I have read the current values, saved it, returned it, and that returned value is actually the saved value on which I want to do something. So right now I'm doing scroll. You can do a number of other things also, right? But in this example you have seen that this snapshot contains the distance from bottom, that value which is written from here, and that value distance from bottom I can use to restore my scroll top position, so that the user experience is somewhat better. Now a small optimization we can do here is that if you can observe closely, the component did update gets called every time, isn't it? Like it's not that only list items, the comments will change, then only component did update will. Component did update can call when any of the state or props are changed. So unnecessarily this code will be running every time. I want to run this code only when my comments thing is changing, not every time, right? So what I can do is that I can do a small trick here, is that I can take the length of the props. Okay, what is the props which I am using? I am using the prop comments. So you can see that this comments prop is being used, this dot prop dot comments. So I'll see that if this thing is changing, which means that if my this dot props dot comment is greater than previous props dot comments, then only I want to do this. Then only otherwise I will return, let's say, null. And if props dot comment, oh sorry, not comment, comments dot length, isn't it? So I know comments, okay, anyways it will not work. So current props comments prop, its length should be greater than previous props dot comments dot length. If this thing is happening, which means that let's say earlier it was like 10 comments were there, then a new comment is added, which means that it has the length has become 11. If that is the thing, then only return snapshot like this. Otherwise snapshot will be returned as null. And this I will do only when snapshot is not null, which means that something is returned from here. Something is returned from here if snapshot is not equal to null. Not equal to null, then only I want to do something like this. Okay, otherwise I don't do anything. And if you have some other logic in component update, you are free to write, but my code will not, this piece of code will only run when something is changing. For other things, when component update gets called, my code will not run. And you can see that still these 7 comments are there, this 6 I have scrolled and I have added, let's say 8 9 whatever, and you can see that still my view is 6 only, though those 8 and 9s are added. So you can see that it is still working exactly the same way, but slight optimization here we have done. Okay, so that will be all. This is not that much frequently used lifecycle method, but when it comes to such cases where you need such sort of situations, then this lifecycle method might be helpful. So that will be all for this video. Thanks.